In a quiet house, a mother and son duo, Mamako and Masato Osuki, lived a seemingly ordinary life. While Mamako prepared dinner, Masato filled out a questionnaire, describing his relationship with his mother as very average. Their routine was interrupted by the arrival of Masumi Shiraise, a peculiar representative from the cabinet office. Without much explanation, she devised an excuse to momentarily send Mamako away. Shiraise informed Masato of his selection to start a new life inside a video game, and quickly used Masato's computer to transport him into the game. As Masato transitioned into the fantasy world, a mix of guilt and excitement filled him. He felt bad about leaving his mother behind but eagerly anticipated his new adventure. Upon arrival, Masato was thrilled to explore this new realm. However, his excitement turned into dismay when he heard a familiar voice. His mother, Mamako, had been transported alongside him. The two met the teleportation king, who explained the basics of the world and asked for their names for registration. The king asked their name and Masato registered as Normal Hero, while Mamako became Normal Hero's mother. The king revealed that their selection was based on Masato's questionnaire. When Masato asks why he is with his mother, the king hinted that their journey would uncover the purpose of their presence. The king then led them to the treasure room, where Masato selected the firmament, Holy Sword of the Great Heavens. To his surprise, while Mamako grabs two swords, Terra de Madre, Holy Sword of Mother Earth, and Altura, Holy Sword of Mother Ocean, planning to use them as kitchen knives. Before starting their adventure, they were asked to test their skills in combat. Mamako wielded her swords effortlessly, defeating waves of monsters with ease, while Masato struggled to kill even a single bird with his holy sword. It became evident that Mamako was far more powerful than Masato, leaving him feeling frustrated and useless. In a moment of despair, Masato suggested that Mamako continue the journey alone. This led to a heated exchange, during which Masato accused Mamako of hiding something. His words brought her to tears as she admitted that Shiraise had sent her for a secret reason she was unsure how to explain. Regretting his harshness, Masato apologized, and they resolved to continue their journey together. Their travels brought them to the kingdom of Mammalia, where they visited the Adventurers Guild. Mamako, eager to make a strong impression, accidentally destroyed half the guild building, citing the guild book's advice to ensure no one underestimated them. Despite the chaos, they were welcomed by the guild's desk assistant, Shiraise, who bore an uncanny resemblance to Shiraise from the cabinet office. With a bruised yet cheerful demeanor, Shiraise suggested that they recruit party members to support their journey. Masato took her advice and decides to recruit 3 girls to join their party. However, Mamako took it upon herself to interview the new recruits, assessing their potential as future brides for Masato. Mamako begins interviewing the girls Masato has chosen to join their party, only to reject each one for various reasons, much to Masato's frustration. However, a porter girl named Porta, a merchant and craftswoman, soon approaches them. She demonstrates an impressive array of useful skills, such as crafting and item management, but admits she cannot fight on her own. Despite this, Masato is impressed by her talents and agrees to recruit her into the party. Mamako, on the other hand, immediately begins imagining Porta as Masato's future bride, much to his embarrassment. Shortly afterward, Masato comes across the resume of another applicant, a sage named Wise, who boasts exceptional healing and combat magic. Although her skills are impressive, Masato suspects her personality might be problematic and decides to reject her application. However, every time he throws the resume away, it inexplicably returns to him. Frustrated, he finally steps on the paper to stop it, only for it to transform into Wise herself. Wise angrily teleports Masato away as revenge for his actions and steps on his face. Wise then reveals that the game they are in is in Momwork, Mother's massively maternal multiplayer make-up with offspring role-playing game. The game's purpose is to improve mother-child relationships, and neither of them can return to the real world until they clear the game by strengthening their bond with their mothers. Wise also explains that she entered the game with her own mother, but their relationship was so strained that they split up. She now wishes for Mamako to adopt her instead. Meanwhile, Mamako and Porta grow worried about Masato's sudden disappearance. Shiraise teaches Mamako a skill to locate him, and Mamako successfully uses it to find him. After Wise's actions are revealed, she is briefly thrown in jail. Mamako refuses Wise's request for adoption but agrees to let her join the party if she promises to reconcile with her mother. Initially hesitant, Wise refuses but ultimately changes her mind after Masato praises her magical abilities and Mamako promises to help her make up with her mother. The party later decides to conquer a dungeon. While exploring, Mamako accidentally slips and falls into the dungeon, causing the group to lose their way in the dark as they try to catch her. Mamako unlocks Mom's skill, called Mother's Light, which illuminates their surroundings and allows them to navigate forward. As they progress, several slimes attack them. Wise attempts to use her magic but finds it sealed by the slimes. Mamako quickly steps in and defeats all the monsters, leveling herself up in the process. Porta collects valuable stones left behind by the slimes, but more slimes appear and seal Wise's magic again. The slimes then combine to form a giant slime. In the ensuing battle, both Mamako and Masato are hit by slime attacks. Masato protects Mamako but ends up with Mamako's clothes dissolving due to the slime's effects. Masato tries to avert his eyes, embarrassed by the situation. Porta uses her crafted magic items to help Wise regain her magic, and Wise successfully aids the team by casting powerful spells. Despite being naked, Mamako takes charge and defeats the giant slime, revealing a hidden coffin inside the dungeon. The coffin contains another Shirace, who introduces herself as Shirace the Mysterious Nun. After Wise revives her, Shirace gives the team a new quest and directs them to their next location. Upon arrival, Mamako is thrilled to see the bustling new shops and marketplaces. After finishing their meal, the party decides to prepare for their next quest by purchasing new equipment. They visit a shop where Masato notices a bikini armor on display. Wanting to avoid any awkward situations, he tries to steer Mamako away from it, but she discovers it anyway. Much to Masato's embarrassment, Mamako insists on trying it on. The sight is too much for Masato, and he averts his eyes, flustered. Mamako, oblivious to his discomfort, continues exploring the shop and tries on various outfits. Mamako, enthusiastic as ever, buys numerous items for their journey, which only adds to Masato's growing irritation. Overwhelmed, Masato snaps at her but immediately feels guilty for his outburst. Mamako, with her usual kindness, forgives him without hesitation, reassuring him in her motherly way. The party travels to Maman village, where the village chief explains their predicament. The Empress of Night, a powerful and mysterious figure, has been demanding attractive men from the village. With all the young men already taken, the villagers have no one left to offer. Masato, anticipating what the chief would ask, agrees to help defeat the Empress. The chief is overjoyed and entrusts them with the mission. Later, Masato relaxes in a hot spring, only to be joined by Mamako, Porta, and Wise. During their discussion about the Empress, the group notes that they have never encountered a monster like her before and are unsure how to defeat her. Wise, surprisingly, reveals that the Empress is not a monster but a wizard capable of wielding any type of magic. She appears uneasy, hinting at a personal connection to the Empress. When Masato presses her for details, Wise accidentally reveals her nudity to him in her flustered state. Embarrassed, she flees. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, Shirace confronts the Empress of Night, accusing her of breaking too many game rules. Shirace attempts to erase the Empress from the game, but the Empress counters with her unique magic and kills her. Back at the hot spring, Wise tells Masato she is going for a walk in the forest and invites him to join her. She confesses her intention to confront the Empress alone. Masato, still naked from earlier, tries to stop her. The two end up in an awkward position when Mamako stumbles upon them. Afterward, Wise finally opens up about her connection to the Empress, revealing that the Empress is her mother. Wise explains that her mother was selfish and often frequented host clubs, even naming Wise after one of her favorite hosts. After Wise's father divorced her mother, Wise stayed with her father. However, one day her mother returned and forced Wise to join the game. Once inside, her mother abandoned her upon realizing she could use her magic to establish a new life in the game, filled with wealth and young men. Although Wise claims she no longer cares about her mother, Mamako sees through her facade. She proves it by hugging Wise, who, though reluctant at first, admits the hug feels strange yet comforting, something she has never experienced from her own mother. Wise has a dream about the past. After her parents divorced, her mother Kazuno one day forced her to play the game to improve their strained relationship. Initially, they tried to work together, but their differences soon escalated. The game sessions became filled with arguments, and one day, after a particularly heated confrontation, Wise parted ways with her mother, harboring resentment. When she wakes up, she finds herself lying on Mamako's lap, comforted by her warmth. The party is now determined to reunite Wise with her mother and help mend their relationship. They venture into the forest, where they discover a mysterious coffin. Upon opening it, they revive Shirace, who reveals troubling information about Kazuno. She explains that Kazuno has been suspected of using illegal third-party tools in the game, a violation of its strict policies. The fine for such actions is set at an astronomical 100 million. However, Shiraise offers a deal. The fine will be waived if Wise and Kazuno can repair their relationship. The party agrees to help Wise, and Shiraise uses her spatial powers to open a portal, summoning Kazuno. Kazuno arrives and immediately begins to wreak havoc, using her magic to destroy everything around her. She isolates Wise and Masato in a conjured white room, revealing her true intentions. Kazuno admits she has been using hacking tools in the game and plans to exploit them in the real world to gain wealth and power. Masato tries to reason with her, while Wise begins apologizing for the hurtful things she said before they parted ways. However, Kazuno, still consumed by anger, refuses to listen. She lashes out, attacking Wise and rendering her unconscious. Masato steps in, trying to convince Kazuno of Wise's sincerity. He shares his own experiences, admitting he has said hurtful things to his mother in moments of frustration, but never truly meant them. Kazuno, unmoved, lashes out, expressing her bitterness and regret about motherhood. Just as she prepares to strike Masato, Mamako bursts into the room. Mamako breaks through Kazuno's defenses with her overpowered attacks. Kazuno tries to appeal to Mamako, suggesting that as mothers, they should unite against their ungrateful children. Mamako acknowledges that parenting can be frustrating but affirms her deep love for Masato and her willingness to do anything to ensure his happiness, even if it means sacrificing herself. Inspired, Masato thanks Mamako for being the best mother he could ask for. Realizing that Kazuno is a sage like Wise, Masato uses one of Porta's crafted tools to seal Kazuno's magic. Overwhelmed and defeated, Kazuno attempts to flee, but Masato uses his skill to stop her. Before she can fall, Wise regains consciousness and catches her, pleading with her mother to reconcile. Kazuno reverts to her true form, but almost immediately begins bickering with Wise. Shiraise, however, deems this progress and declares their relationship reconciled, clearing the game for Kazuno. Reluctantly, Kazuno logs out, leaving Wise behind. Wise, now with a renewed sense of purpose, decides to remain with Masato and the party, claiming she wants to help them on their journey for fun. Shortly after, the real-world Shiraise contacts the group with a new quest, addressing issues in the game that even the developers cannot resolve. Mamako, satisfied with the progress made, feels she can now have more normal conversations with Masato, bringing them closer together. While battling monsters, Mamako effortlessly defeats them, leaving Masato and Wise feeling useless. Frustrated by his lack of contribution, Masato wishes to become stronger. At that moment, a flyer advertising an academy promising strength and skills catches his attention. Masato decides to enroll in the Lover's Lane Academy. Upon arrival, Masato is thrilled by the opportunity to train and improve and be independent from Mamako for a while. He meets Medy, a beautiful and shy mage who exudes humility. However, he also encounters Medhima, Medy's overbearing mother, who constantly brags about Medy's skills and achievements, overshadowing her daughter's modest demeanor. In their first class, the teacher announces a new student will be joining them. Masato, anxious that it might be Mamako, rushes to the door in panic. To his relief, it is Medy who enters instead, smiling warmly at him. Masato feels reassured, but his relief is short-lived as Medhima insists on joining the class to ensure Medy stays the strongest student. The class rewards experience points for correct answers, but Medhima manipulates the environment to sabotage everyone else. Using her unique staff, she casts subtle spells to put the other students to sleep or confuse them, ensuring Medy remains on top. Medhima loudly declares herself the best parent, much to Medy's visible discomfort. Porta observes the events closely and confirms that Medhima's staff is behind the disruptions. During a class, Masato receives a mysterious message saying a heroine is waiting for him. Excited at the thought of a romantic encounter, he rushes to meet her, only to find Mamako disguised as a student. His disappointment is palpable. Shiraise, now the academy's principal, accompanies Mamako, explaining that the academy was hastily constructed and plagued by bugs. She asks Masato and the group to help resolve these issues as part of their quest. In the following class, Mamako observes alongside Medhima, who is surprised Mamako worries more about her child making friends than acing the class. Medy finds Mamako's light-hearted and caring approach amusing, while Masato struggles with embarrassment. Medhima attempts to sabotage the class again, but Mamako's unique mother's sharing skill nullifies her interference. When the teacher asks Mamako to participate, she enthusiastically answers all the questions, earning the highest score in the class, with Medy coming in second. Meanwhile, Masato, Wise, and Porta tie for last place. Despite their poor performance, Mamako praises their effort and encourages them. Masato, wanting to avoid the embarrassment of walking to school with Mamako, leaves early in hopes of meeting Medy on the way. He has developed a crush on her and fantasizes about walking with her alone. To his delight, he encounters Medy and begins chatting with her. However, his excitement is short-lived as Mamako and the rest of the group catch up. Masato tries to hide his frustration, but his mood sours further when Medy shows up, flaunting a new, extravagant outfit to outshine Mamako. Medy seems intent on starting a one-sided rivalry with Mamako, constantly making comparisons and boasting. Masato notices Medy quietly muttering negative comments about her mother, hinting at her resentment. Their first lesson of the day is cookery. While Porta excels and Wise manages to hold her own, Masato struggles, creating a mess in the kitchen. Medy, despite being in the combat class, produces a flawless dish, impressing the teacher and students. However, Wise grows suspicious, pointing out that Medy might be using illusion magic to enhance Medy's results. Masato refuses to believe it, and decides to taste Medy's food, expecting it to be delicious. To his dismay, it tastes awful, confirming Wise's suspicion. Meanwhile, Mamako also participates, and using normal cooking methods, creates a dish that not only tastes wonderful but grants status boosts to Masato when he tastes it. The teacher explains this is due to Mamako's new skill, Mother's Breath, which imbues her cooking with beneficial effects. Masato, Wise, and Porta gain experience points and skill boosts from eating her food, leaving Medy fuming with jealousy. Later, during swimming class, Medy arrives wearing a scandalous bikini, attempting to show off. Masato is more worried about which swimsuit Mamako apar. However, Mamako, in a modest school swimsuit, unintentionally outshines her with her natural grace and charm, much to Medy's irritation. The class involves a pool-based competition where combat students like Masato and Wise must defeat sea monsters, while crafters like Porta collect drop items. Medy, once again, appears to excel, defeating monsters single-handedly while Medy cheers her on aggressively. When Wise drops out, the competition narrows down to Masato and Medy. Medy continues to shout harsh criticisms, pressuring Medy to win and calling her useless if she fails. In contrast, Mamako shouts encouragement to Masato, reminding him that it doesn't matter if he wins or loses, he'll always be her number one as long as he's safe. Medy begins to lose her confidence under her mother's relentless pressure and gives up midway through the competition. Suddenly, a unique tentacle monster appears and grabs Mamako. She swiftly defeats it using her Mother Ocean sword, creating an opening for Masato to land the final blow. Despite killing fewer monsters than Medy, Masato wins first place due to killing a unique monster and earning a celebratory bear hug from Mamako. Meanwhile, Medy furiously scolds and slaps Medy for her failure. Masato, concerned for Medy, approaches her to offer comfort, but she runs away before he can say anything. Later, Masato and Mamako come across Medy venting her frustration alone. They see her furiously kicking a wall, swearing, and wishing her mother was dead. During a bath with everyone, Masato grows increasingly worried about Medy and decides he needs to help her. He asks Mamako, Wise, and Porta for their support. They all agree, but Porta gets dizzy from staying in the hot water too long, so Mamako and Wise help her out. The next day at the academy, the teacher announces an upcoming festival where students must collaborate with their parents to plan events and earn experience points. Mamako suggests running a cafe, prompting Medy to create a rival cafe in a bid to outdo Mamako. While preparing for the festival, Masato witnesses an NPC confessing his love to Mamako. She gently rejects him, which both amuses and irritates Masato. Later, Medy approaches Masato to praise Mamako's kindness and apologize for her mother's overbearing behavior. When the festival begins, Mamako's cafe becomes an instant success. NPCs flock to her stand in huge crowds, eager to taste her cooking, while Medy's cafe remains empty and ignored. Frustrated, Medy pressures Medy into wearing a revealing swimsuit to attract customers. She even goes so far as to strip Medy. Masato witnesses this and tries to intervene, but Medy kills him in a fit of rage. As a ghost, Masato overhears Medy plotting. She orders Medy to seduce him and sabotage Mamako's cafe. Once revived, Masato returns to the festival, where Medy pulls him aside, trying to get close to him. However, Masato stops her, stating that he knows what she's trying to do. Medy is conflicted and hesitates, but Medy arrives and demands Medy follow her orders. Masato confronts Medy, urging her to stop controlling Medy and pointing out that her cafe has already failed. Medy, undeterred, challenges them to a waitress beauty contest. In the contest, Medy's natural charm earns her significant votes from the crowd. Wise, attempting to act cute, fails miserably, amusing everyone but gaining no votes. As Medy seems poised to win, Mamako unexpectedly takes the stage to encourage Wise. Mamako inadvertently instructs Wise to use her fire magic for cooking, which accidentally leads her to defeat Medy. Masato seizes the opportunity to flee with Medy, ensuring that Medy cannot punish her. Later, when the group urges Medy to stand up to her mother, she tearfully admits that she just wants to enjoy life and have friends but has none due to Medy's controlling nature. Masato, Wise, and Porta promise to be her friends, which brings a momentary smile to Medy's face. However, the situation escalates when Medy interrupts, calling Medy a failure and a disgrace as a daughter, but Mamako stops her. Medy admits she only pushes Medy to be the best because it allows her to claim she is the best mother. Hearing this, Medy finally snaps, unleashing all her suppressed rage and transforming into a massive dragon. The shocked group realizes they must now confront Medy in her uncontrollable state, while also addressing the deep-seated conflict between her and her mother. An enraged Medy begins attacking her mother. Medy, in denial of her role in Medy's pain, attempts to shift the blame onto Masato and attacks him. Mamako intervenes, protecting Masato and urging the group to focus on calming Medy. As Wise tries to use her magic to help, Medy drains her mana, taunting Wise and Masato. Medy furiously compares her life with Masato's, lamenting her controlling mother while praising Mamako as an ideal parent. Masato, however, counters, admitting that even though Mamako is wonderful, playing the game with her hasn't been easy for him either. Porta works to help Wise recover her magic as Mamako continues battling Medy. During their fight, Medy stubbornly defends her parenting style, insisting that parents have the right to raise their children however they see fit. Mamako calmly disagrees, explaining that while every parent has their own way, the ultimate goal should be raising children to become happy, independent adults. She then uses a special skill, Mother's Words, which allows her to communicate directly with Medy's heart. Medy starts to realize the depth of her selfishness and tries to apologize, but Medy, consumed by her anger, refuses to listen and lashes out at her mother. As Medy prepares to punish Medy, her mother tearfully admits her mistakes and declares that she is ready to accept any consequences. When Medy attacks, Masato steps in to shield Medy, showing Medy that her mother's repentance is genuine. Meanwhile, Wise regains her mana with Porta's help and uses a powerful wind spell to lift Medy into the air, giving Masato a chance to act. Medy, however, seizes her mother's staff and encases herself in a protective shell. Masato then uses his hero's skill to shatter the staff. This breaks the magic, amplifying Medy's emotions, causing her to revert back to her human form. Medy catches Medy mid-fall and tearfully hugs her, apologizing for all the pain she caused. The two reconcile, with Medy admitting she became blinded by her desire to be the best mother, and it becomes strong after she gets staff. Masato realizes Medy's staff amplifies its wielder's feelings. Later, at the Academy's graduation party, Masato invites Medy and her mother to join their party. Medy declines, choosing to log out and start fresh in the real world. Medy, however, decides to stay and join as the party's healer, much to Wise's irritation. But just then, Shirace the mysterious nun arrives. Shirace announces that their accumulated experience points will be used to spin a roulette wheel to, maybe, win valuable tools as graduation prizes. Masato and Wise excitedly wager all their experience, but only win basic health and magic potions. As a bonus for helping Medy and her mother reconcile, Shirace grants Masato one extra spin. This time, he wins Mamako a new mother's apron, much to his dismay. Despite this, Masato decides he can live with the result. While Mamako is engrossed in filling out a survey about how much her relationship with Masato has improved, a horde of monsters appears near their location. Masato sees this as his chance to prove himself and finally shine as a hero. Unfortunately for him, Mamako notices the monsters as well and swiftly defeats them all, leaving Masato feeling deflated. Meanwhile, Medy observes the dynamic in the party and quickly realizes there's not much for her to do, and Masato, frustrated and desperate to become stronger, wishes to find a way to prove himself. At that moment, he stumbles upon a flyer advertising a new tower dungeon with the promise of granting a single wish to whoever completes it. Upon arriving at the dungeon, they find the area crowded with angry mothers demanding help to find their missing children. The party discovers Shirace in a nearby coffin, and Medy rushes to revive her, shoving Wise aside in the process. Shirace explains she has no knowledge of the tower's origins but suspects someone is sabotaging the game. She reveals the angry mothers sought her help, but as a GM, she's unable to intervene directly. As Masato becomes excited about finally proving himself, Wise predicts Mamako will inevitably defeat all the monsters and use the wish for something mundane, like eggs for cooking. Masato's excitement deflates again as he imagines Wise's scenario becoming reality. Entering the tower, the party encounters various stones on the first floor. Masato steps on one that restores HP, while Porta finds the exit key. Wise steps on a stone hoping to gain new magic but ends up trapped in a magical snare, much to Medy's amusement. Mamako finds a stone with an air symbol and, on Shirei's suggestion, steps on it, only to have the air lift her dress, flustering Masato. Shirei then reveals that the stone is actually a shortcut mechanism for reaching higher floors. Using it, the party ascends several floors quickly. On one of the higher floors, they meet a clumsy girl who trips on the stairs. She introduces herself as Amante, a member of an anti-mother party called Ribble. Though she tries to avoid revealing too much, she inadvertently discloses that the tower gathers children who have betrayed their mothers and aims to grant them the wish. After spotting Mamako, Amante panics and flees, declaring she'll complete the dungeon before them. Returning to the surface, Shirei confirms the tower is not an official in-game event and tasks the party with resolving the situation. Masato decides to defeat Ribble and return its members to their parents. However, realizing they need to grow stronger, Shirei suggests forming a guild. The party takes over an old guild hall, which Mamako names the With Mommy Guild. As part of the guild creation bonus, they receive maid uniforms. Wise, Porta, and Medy are excited to wear theirs, while Masato reluctantly agrees they look nice. However, he explicitly bans Mamako from wearing one, admitting he couldn't handle seeing her in a maid outfit. Later, Masato, Medy, and Porta head to the market to shop for building materials to repair their guild hall. There, they unexpectedly run into Amante, who is also shopping. She attempts to taunt them but is quickly intimidated by Medy's dark side, prompting her to admit she sent an assassin to attack their guild. Initially, they're unconcerned, confident that Mamako can handle anything. However, Wise suddenly teleports in, panicked and warning that Mamako is in danger, leaving everyone shocked and worried. Masato rushes back to the guild, fearing for Mamako's safety, only to find her cheerfully chatting with a shady fortune teller. To his horror, Mamako is about to hand over all the money. Sensing something is wrong, Masato intervenes, revealing the fortune teller to be an assassin in disguise. Caught, the assassin flees, leaving behind a suspicious crystal ball. The crystal is revealed to be a bomb, but Mamako disarms it effortlessly using her skill, Mother's Head Pat, to calm the volatile energy within. Shortly afterward, Amante appears, demanding to know why her bomb didn't explode. However, upon spotting Mamako, she panics and flees again, accidentally blurting out that another group of assassins is already at the guild. Just as she disappears, a loud explosion is heard from the guild hall. Masato and the party rush back, finding the guild under siege by the assassin group. Their leader, Pachi, smugly reveals that they've planted bombs all around the city and will detonate them unless the girls agree to serve them as maids. Pachi specifically demands Mamako serve him personally, with lewd implications, threatening mass destruction if they refuse. Despite the dire situation, Mamako calmly agrees, much to everyone's shock. She begins serving the assassins but in her own unique way, treating them like children. Her motherly care confuses and disarms the group. When Pachi demands a night's service from Mamako, she tucks him into bed instead, soothing him to sleep with her signature motherly charm. As the assassins interact with Mamako, they are reminded of their own mothers and begin to regret their actions. One by one, they confess their guilt, agreeing to defuse the bombs and apologize to their mothers. At the hot spring, Mamako expresses concern about Amante's hostility toward Mother, wondering about the root of her anger. Amante suddenly bursts in, furious at losing her assassins. However, upon seeing the girls and Masato bathing together, she becomes flustered and embarrassed. Wise and Medy seize the opportunity to tease her mercilessly, joking about her wanting to join them in the bath. Amante, unable to handle the humiliation, flees in a panic after catching sight of Mamako, who simply smiles warmly at her. Later, Shirei arrives at the guild, bringing with her a group of mothers who volunteer to join the With Mommy Guild as thanks for returning their sons. The mothers insist on helping clear the tower to rescue more children. However, before entering the dungeon, one of the mothers complains to Masato that she left her house doors and windows open and begs him to send her back. Masato reluctantly asks Wise to teleport her, but as more mothers start requesting to return home for various reasons, Wise quickly exhausts her mana before the dungeon exploration even begins. Meanwhile, Amante, still scheming, plants more bombs in the tower, intending to trap and eliminate the party. However, growing frustrated at the mother's delayed arrival, she accidentally trips on the stairs and triggers one of her own bombs, blowing herself up in the process. The party finally makes their way into the mysterious tower. Wise, completely drained from teleporting the mothers earlier, is carried by Masato on his back. As they ascend, they encounter a large hole in the floor caused by one of Amante's traps. They manage to climb the rubble and move to the next level, unknowingly leaving Amante buried beneath the debris. Frustrated and disheveled, Amante teleports to another floor and sets an elaborate lightning trap designed to electrocute anyone using metal weapons. Unfortunately for her, a monster appears instead of the party, triggering the trap and electrocuting Amante instead. Meanwhile, Masato and the party take a break for lunch on the mid-levels. Upon reaching the upper floors, they are confronted by a very disheveled and charred Amante, who bitterly admits she was struck by her own lightning trap. Furious, she challenges Momoko to a series of competitions to prove she doesn't need a mother. Momoko easily wins both the dishwashing and laundry challenges with her motherly skills, much to Amante's frustration, forcing her to flee once again. On the 90th floor, the party triggers a trap that strips their armor, leaving everyone in their underwear, except for the other mothers. However, they do not realize it until Shiraise informs them. Mortified, Masato tries to avoid looking at Momoko but can't help being embarrassed. Amante, also caught in the trap and left in her underwear, appears before them without realizing her predicament. When Masato awkwardly points it out, she becomes flustered and furious, quickly summoning an army of monsters to attack the party. As the monsters advance, the mothers notice something unusual about them. Amante smugly reveals that these monsters are actually the children who entered the tower. She has transformed them into monsters and orders them to attack their mothers. When the children hesitate, Amante amplifies their resentment, driving them to lash out at their parents. Medy and Wise work together, using their magic to confuse and disorient the monster children, buying time for the mothers. Meanwhile, Momoko activates her special skill, Full Armor, which clothes all the mothers in protective armor. This skill allows them to approach their children without taking damage, gently asking why they are so unhappy. Moved by their mother's sincerity, the children reconcile with their parents, breaking the spell and returning to their human forms. One of her assassin underlings. He reveals the true reason Amante is so determined to conquer the tower. Her wish is to eliminate all mothers. The party races to the top of the tower, determined to stop Amante. Meanwhile, Amante prepares to defeat the tower's final boss and claim the ultimate wish. Before they can reach the 100th floor, Masato and Momoko are separated from the rest of the party. Masato finds himself lured into a trap by fake Momokos, illusions meant to disorient him. Overwhelmed and unsure of what to do, he is saved by the real Momoko, who effortlessly dispels the fakes with her skills. Reunited, they push forward and regroup with Wise, Medy, and Porta. Finally, they reach the summit, only to find that Amante has already defeated the boss. Victorious, Amante declares that she will not only claim the wish but also defeat Momoko, whom she sees as the epitome of everything she despises about mothers. She declares Momoko, Wise, and Medy her enemies, but scoffs at Masato, dismissing him as nobody, and expressing hatred for him simply because he is Momoko's son. Wise and Medy immediately launch their magic attacks at Amante, only to be instantly defeated. Amante reveals that her relentless rejection of mothers has unlocked a unique disobedience skill, which reflects all magical attacks back at their users. She taunts Masato, claiming that Momoko has robbed him of the freedom to have the adventures and experiences he desires. Momoko, deeply hurt, begins to doubt herself, but Masato steps forward to defend her. He admits that while it is sometimes embarrassing to adventure with his mom, he values the time they spend together. He declares that he wants to continue adventuring with Momoko, not just because she is his mother but because of who she is. Amante, filled with hatred, claims she despises all mothers and everything they represent. Momoko, determined to stop her, uses a powerful higher skill, Mother Says No, which injures but does not defeat Amante. Desperate, Amante rushes toward the wish altar to claim her wish. The party chases after her, but before Amante can make her wish, Masato blurts out something Momoko wished for earlier, fresh eggs. The altar interprets this as the wish and denies Amante's attempt, leaving her furious. Defeated, she flees, vowing revenge. As she escapes in a carriage, Amante attempts to contact other members of her group, hinting at further plans. Later, Shiraise examines a dark crystal dropped by Amante. She identifies it as identical to the crystals used to corrupt Wise's and Medy's mothers. Shiraise reveals that Ribble, the anti-mother group, is composed of 4 friends. With Amante defeated, 3 remain, and the party's next quest is to confront and defeat them. In the end, Masato reflects on his journey. He admits that it is no longer just his adventure, it is his and Mamako's.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this. If you have any suggestions or questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Until next time, take care.